Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to react to SpaceBourne 2. It's a new game that recently came out. I saw Obsidian Ant, another content creator, make a video about his first impressions of it. A lot of people are saying it's kind of like Star Citizen, like a single player Star Citizen. It's a space game. You have the ability to do FPS combat. You have the ability to fly around your spaceship, go from planet to planet. I don't exactly know what tech is involved, if it's like a seamless experience, but we're going to check it out today. So yeah, if you guys like content like this, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification to know every time I post. So without further ado, let's get into the video.
SpaceBourne 2 is not your average space game.
Okay, so right off the back, we can see there's atmospheric flight. That looks pretty cool. They have volumetric clouds.
Thousands of star systems, a heavy focus on diplomacy, and the ability to create your very own faction. This game is shaping up to be a truly unique experience with some highly lofty goals. Now, what's especially intriguing to me here is the sheer number of times that this game has been recommended to me. I've seen many recommendations in YouTube comments, on Discord, as well as across the internet. The game has very favourable reviews on Steam with a very positive rating.
So far, I'd say it looks pretty good. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about this game, but the graphics look okay.
At 82%, so looking very good. That's not to say it's perfect, it is very janky, as we'll talk about in just a moment. But this is a game in early access, and underneath all that jank is a game that just may be very special indeed. So, what is SpaceBourne 2 all about?
Now, I did hear a little bit about this. I think a little while ago on Spectrum, people were talking about SpaceBourne 2 when this was first announced. They had kind of a video of a player character walking through, I think it was snow or an environment, and they were like interacting with the environment. And yeah, I think they were showing some gameplay stuff of this game, and a lot of people were comparing it to Star Citizen, but from what I know, I'm not sure, he might talk about it in the video, but I think this game is being developed by one person. So if that's true, that's crazy, because it doesn't look too bad right now, but we'll see. Let's keep going.
Well, it's a massive single-player space-based RPG. Here are some bullet points about the game.
Okay. There's tens of thousands of diverse solar systems, planetary surface, character customization, faction, diplomacy system, guilds, side missions, living galaxy. Okay, I mean, this is a single player game, so there's a whole lot of technical hurdles that you have to jump to once you go into multiplayer and like semi MMO kind of status that Star Citizen is at. And I feel like that is the major hurdle for a lot of space games. Is I feel like we can have some really good single player experiences right now with the current tech that's available, but when you go to like multiplayer online MMO stuff, I really haven't seen a whole lot of stuff aside from, you know, Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous. That's like high fidelity, kind of, you know, has the same things that you can do, but we'll see.
Tens of thousands of solar systems, massive planetary surfaces to explore, character customization for people who like that sort of thing, the ability to establish control of factions, rich diplomacy systems, side missions scattered throughout the galaxy, and what the developer claims to be a living galaxy with a vast array of spaceships and random encounters. It all almost sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? And this is where opinions may become a little bit divided.
Graphics wise, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of Star Trek Online, just like kind of the way it looks right now. And you know, I don't know if you guys are too familiar with Star Trek Online. That's a game that I want to look at here, and I don't know if I would say do a review of, but kind of react to it. but it's kind of giving me that vibe right now. It's I don't know what it is, but for some reason, maybe it's Star Citizen's art style, maybe it's the way the developers has designed it, but or maybe it's the lighting of this game versus the lighting in Star Citizen. But Star Citizen is such a cinematic game, and it's not even like the most high resolution game out there. Like, I've seen some Unreal Engine 5 demos that are just like mind-blowingly detailed, but then you get into Star Citizen and it's just it feels so cinematic for whatever reason. It feels so much more immersive than those games that are even higher resolution than Star Citizen. So maybe it is lighting or something like that, but this is not a bad looking game right now. So far, from what I'm seeing, it looks decent. It doesn't look like something that was made in 2023, but it's. I could 100% see a game like this coming out in like 2017, 2018.
It does have absolutely everything that we just listed, but to whether it's too good to be true, that will be dependent on your point of view. This is an indie game, and it is.
Okay, it has EVA. You can. This kind of EVA is what CIG recently showed off, that they're gonna move to this kind of like Superman EVA pose. So that's interesting.
Created by a single developer. So this means we get.
Okay, yeah. So he confirmed it. This game is being made by a single developer. So that's pretty crazy.
A space game that contains many of the features that people have long been asking for, but also means that the game is not, and probably will never be, anything on the scale of something like Starfield. But that's not the goal here. Just simply pointing out that people will.
Okay, so that's kind of interesting. He kind of brought up Starfield, and he kind of said that won't be on the same scale. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this game, but to me, it kind of seems like it's checking a lot of those boxes. I wasn't really making a whole lot of videos when Starfield's gameplay reveal came out. That came out before I started uploading to this channel regularly. But I do want to, react to Starfield and kind of talk about that game too. Not, as like a serious thing on this channel. This is a Star Citizen channel. But I do react to other games from time to time. So I didn't have a reaction for Starfield. So I do want to do that when more information comes out. Now, I feel like comparing it to Starfield is a fair comparison because they're both single player games, fly-rolling spaceships, this FPS combat. They both have EVA, it looks like. They're both single player games. It looks like this game has atmospheric flight. I don't know if Starfield is gonna have that. I don't know what based on the fact that it has atmospheric flight, I don't know if there's a cutscene to go from planet to space, but the fact that Starfield has a cutscene to go from a planet's surface to space, I don't know what that's gonna be like. I don't know how that's gonna play like. If you're going from planet to planet to planet often, it might be kind of annoying to have to go through this cutscene every time. But with this game, the fact that you can fly along the atmosphere, I don't know. I feel like maybe that's an advantage. From a technical standpoint, that's impressive for one guy to make a game that enables you to do that. I don't know how long he's been working on this game, but to me that seems pretty impressive. And really, you have to look at it for what it is. I think, from what I'm seeing so far, this game doesn't look too bad. It might come down to cost. I don't think this is a $70 game, but then Starfield is available on Game Pass. So that really comes down to you and your perspective and what you want to spend your time doing. But let's get back into it.
Will need to set their expectations accordingly. So, keeping that in mind, and if you're willing to accept all that, SpaceBourne 2 is certainly worth a look. It's currently available on Steam, priced at around £16. I believe that's roughly $20 if you're...
Okay, yeah, $20, that's not bad. For a game like this, with these kind of graphics, I think that's very fair. Star Citizen's $45 right now to get into. A lot of people have spent much more money than that. So I don't know. It really comes down to what you're interested in. I feel like right now, $20 is kind of the sweet spot for games. I know a lot of games have raised in price, and $70 is for a AAA title is gonna become the norm. I don't really like that. I think that games should, and again, I don't have a problem with microtransactions or macrotransactions or whatever, but all that stuff has to be voluntary. That has to be up to you, what you want to spend your money on, how you want to spend your money. I feel like a lower barrier to entry is a good thing. We want to get gamers into this stuff. We don't want to kind of, gatekeep these experiences. We want to give everyone a chance to, participate. And I feel like $20 is a good price for a game like this. Will I be playing this? I don't know. Right now it looks pretty good and the price seems right, but we'll keep watching.
In the US, and what you get for your money is a game that absolutely feels full of potential and ambition, but one which also feels full of jank, bugs, and, well, a few problems here and there.
And I don't really have a problem with that. Like, Star Citizen has a lot of bugs. How it is. I've been a player for a long time. There are workarounds. It's stuff. It's something I'm used to. It's something I deal with on a daily basis. I don't really have a big problem with it. I feel like almost every game these days comes out with a bug. It's software. At the end of the day, the more complicated a game is, the more bugs it's gonna have. That's just reality. You want absolutely flawless, 100% perfect experience every time. I don't really expect that from a video game. I just want to be able to complete objectives and missions and progress in the game. If the game is so broken that I can't get anything done, then that's not just a bug. But if it's like an NPC standing on a chair, or an NPC making a weird face, or something clipping through a surface, or something that has a texture that didn't load right, that's fine. But if it's something like trams or elevators not working, or it's to a point where I literally just can't progress, I'm just stuck in this one spot because of a bug, that absolutely needs to be fixed. That is not okay. And CIG is working on stuff like that, but in games, just random little bugs, textures not loading, things clipping, I don't care about that stuff. Now, I know a lot of people make a big deal about it because it is kind of immersion breaking. It is kind of jarring, like stuff popping in, shadows popping in, that kind of stuff. I really don't care about that stuff because I know it's software, I know it's a game. At the end of the day, I can look past a lot of that stuff. But what is really hard to look past is when you can't progress in a game, when you're kind of stuck in a location or space. So hopefully the bugs in this game is not like that, and the jank is just kind of like, side effects of having a single developer. Like, I don't know how he's QAing this stuff. And at the end of the day, if there's no QA person, it's gonna have bugs. It's something that you gotta expect. So I wouldn't be too surprised or put off by bugs in a game like this, especially not at that price either. I think $20 for a game that has a little bit of bugs is okay.
It's a contradiction within the game itself, and one which is backed up by the reviews you'll find on Steam. These reviews, you'll notice, have many dozens of hours, in some cases hundreds of hours within the game itself.
Okay, that's
very
good.
Likely from a pre-access build. And here you can see those contradictions at play, with some people absolutely loving the game and other people being more than a little frustrated, shall we say. The general feeling, however, is that it's worth wading through all the jank to find what lays beneath. Now, the game does go through a very extensive tutorial, a little bit too much in my own opinion, but it does get you used to the game itself. It'll place you in...
That's good. I mean, I think Star Citizen's working on their tutorial right now. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's a good way to get people introduced to a game. I know a lot of people in Star Citizen community they don't want CIG to focus on a tutorial right now because the game's still pretty early, but I think CIG wants to get new players into the game and they want to reduce that friction to to get people into the game, and I think it's a good thing. I do think that you should be able to skip any kind of tutorial. Like whenever a game puts a tutorial in, whenever a developer puts a tutorial in a game, I think you should give the player the option of skipping it. If it's kind of like an unskippable tutorial where you have to do missions, I don't know how I feel about that. But again, if it's, you know, the first time playing it and you never heard about the game before, you haven't watched any YouTube videos, it could mean the difference between someone never trying your game and somebody really falling in love with your game. So I feel like it's something that you should, you know, all games should really have, but I feel like it should be skippable.
A little shack and a building at the start of a city. From here,
Okay.
you'll have to go and talk with your grandmother, I think, or maybe it's an aunt, and she will moan to you about being a bit behind on your rent payments.
Okay.
From there onwards, you're set to go find a job and earn your keep. You'll immediately know.
So I'm guessing this game has like a story or something like that. That's pretty cool. I was not expecting this game to have a story. I figured it was just, you know, go here, do this. But that's pretty cool if it has a little story you could progress through. It's a good thing.
It is that the game is filled with AI text or AI text to speech. Not the best way of doing it, but it is pretty much a popular way of doing games that are in early access, as generally speaking, it's far cheaper than using voice actors and far more convenient. I'm sure
Okay.
full-on voice actors will come at a later date. Now, this start area, which you can see on the screen right here, this is the first city that you're introduced to, and it really does have a wonderful vibe. I absolutely loved the feel and look of this.
Yeah, it's cool
Very
in the
nice
city.
style. That is a
It reminds me of like a Star Wars and some of the stuff that CIG is doing with Pyro. Kind of looks like the new Outpost stuff.
positive of a Star Wars Galaxy at its best time.
Yeah, Star Wars
That
Galaxy.
said, you'll also notice that all the NPCs here simply are standing around. Yet even still,
Yeah, we don't have a problem with that either. Because NPCs basically do the same thing in Star Citizen. So, yeah.
they managed to convey a sense of...
Seems like there's a lot of
to the
NPCs
city.
though, and
That's largely aided by the wonderful
cities
ambience, the wonderful,
looks like a pretty
audio
big
to
space.
accompany this. The first time you encounter your starship, it really does feel like a hunk of junk, especially into comparison to some of the other ships you'll see flying around. And this is
Okay.
a fact that will be brought to your attention more often than not. So very easy to jump inside your ship. You just press the F key and you'll automatically spawn inside your ship, similar to how it works with games like Elite Dangerous and No Man's Sky.
Okay,
The
yeah.
flight model is
I mean, that's a system it's like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. You know what I mean? If it works, it
more
works.
simulation than it is arcadey, but that for me actually works. And you can also
Okay.
play from a first person or a third person, although I did have a bit
That's
of an
cool.
issue here. Once I got into the third person camera, I couldn't figure out a way to get back inside the ship again. Kept pressing C.
Maybe it's like a keybind thing. Maybe you have to go into settings and kind of play with
It
that.
just kept cycling around the various external cameras. Getting up into the sky and flying around the
Yeah, look at that atmospheric flight. That looks pretty cool. That looks good. For a $20 game, I think it looks pretty good. That looks solid.
surface of the planets had a wonderful feel to it. The planets, for the most part, seem to be fairly empty and fairly bland, but they do look really nice. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
a wonderful
cool.
feeling to fly up into the sky and get amongst the clouds. This is something I always wanted to see in the likes of Elite Dangerous.
Again, I don't know if this is going to be in Starfield, but I hope we could do this in Starfield. Bethesda's going to do another showcase kind of talking about what we can do in that game. I think a lot of people are looking forward to that. Again, I don't think you need to have like I don't have a problem with like having instance planets or cutscene, but hopefully, there's more vehicles and more opportunities for traversal. But for this game to have atmospheric flight, to fly through the clouds like this, I mean, I feel like that's a huge win right there.
Unfortunately, it never actually delivered that, but it is available here if you want to try that out. Unfortunately though, getting up into space is not seamless. There will be a transition screen here, a load screen to all intents and purposes, but it doesn't take very long to transition to space.
I'm okay with that. I think that's a good compromise. You're flying around. I mean, it's not 100% seamless, but it is. It's very frictionless. You're flying around. You take off from the planet and you just fly up. And as you're going through the atmosphere, there's just like a little flash of light as you go through the atmosphere. I feel like that's okay. I'm fine with that. That's perfect. I feel like a cutscene is a lot more invasive. The fact that it's not a cutscene, it's just kind of like a little loading sequence, I feel like that's great. Honestly, with the way CIG is talking about adding pyro, I wouldn't be surprised if the jump point was like that. I would be 100% okay with it. If going through the jump point was like what we just saw there with the ship going through the atmosphere, I would be okay with that. I wouldn't care. Because it's not stopping the gameplay. You are just kind of going through a little sequence and then you're continuing playing. I feel like having a full-blown cutscene is like the game's playing itself at that point. You're just kind of sitting there watching it happen, and I don't like that. I want to be in the driver's seat. I want to be present and in control of what's happening. A little loading sequence is fine if things are just happening along my ship. It's kind of like being in Quantum. You're kind of not in control of your ship when you're in Quantum. You're just flying very fast. And yeah, you can orbit around your ship, you can get out of your seat, you can still interact with the game. So I feel like that is a good compromise. I feel like a cutscene is kind of too much, and the fact that this guy was able to do this without a cutscene, I feel like this game is pretty interesting. Single developer, he's doing big things here.
Once you're up there, you're free to fly around within the local star system. There we are, looking at the planet again. Combat itself is a good mix of being pure arcadey and having a few little sim elements. If you've ever played Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, you'll be familiar with the way combat actually plays out. Select a target here, hold down the right mouse button, and your ship will auto-chase the target, and then you simply have to control the weapons as well as the ship's defences. So for those people looking for a highly skilled combat game, you may be a little bit disappointed, but for those who want to...
Okay, it's kind of like more of a chill, casual experience. There's no real dogfighting. I mean, that is what it is. At the end of the day, not everybody's going to be crazy about combat, and this definitely doesn't seem like the type of game that you're going to pick up to do that. Again, in my opinion, Star Citizen's only $45. If your computer can run it, there's no reason not to check it out, in my opinion. If you really want that space sim dogfighting experience, I really feel like you should just buy Star Citizen at that point. Now, if you're just looking for something else, then a game like this could be really interesting. But again, if you're looking for just like the ultimate space dogfighting experience, just buy Star Citizen. For $45, you can't beat that. But there are other things that other games offer, and so for a game like this, space dogfighting, I don't think you're gonna buy this game for that. I wouldn't suggest you buy this game for that
activity. Then this could be the right approach. Ultimately, I hope.
But yeah, there might be some people that prefer this, who don't wanna have to, learn all the maneuvering and stuff like that. So they might prefer this method.
That there's some settings in the future that will allow players to choose between what type of combat they'd actually prefer. Okay, so at this point I haven't played too much SpaceBourne just yet, and I really want to hold off on showing any further footage and having any deep dive discussions on the game until I've really well and truly got to grips with it. For now, with this video, I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention because it's one of those titles that does deserve the attention, but for whatever reason is flying beneath the radar.
Yeah, and I want to say hats off to Obsidian Ant for that. I think that's really cool. kind of bringing attention to this game. You know, I want to do the same thing. If you're interested in the space gaming genre, you know, I feel like a lot of people aren't really introduced to some of the other great games in the genre. I hope this genre continues to grow. I hope it continues to attract more people to it. And yeah, with games like this coming out, there's a lot to be excited about. So, you know, thanks to Obsidian Ant for making this video and kind of bringing some more attention to it. I know he's a little bit of a bigger YouTuber, and he has a lot of fans from the Elite Dangerous and the Microsoft Flight Simulator communities, and they might be interested in something like this. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool video. I'm gonna link this video in the description down below so you guys can check it out if you want to. Yeah, go support Obsidian Ant as well. He's a cool dude. If you haven't heard of his YouTube channel, you probably have if you watch my channel. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it from me here today, you guys. Just a quick little video. I know 25 minutes long, quick little video. Yeah, right, I never do quick little videos. But it's good hanging out with you guys again. I haven't made a video in a little while. You know, I've been just crazy busy with work, but I want to get back into it. Try to make at least one video a week for you guys, because I like hanging out with you guys, and this is, you know, super easy content. There's no reason why I shouldn't be uploading. So yeah, keep me honest with that in the comments down below. You know, tell me off. But you know, also tell me what else you guys want to see, and I'll be more than happy to, you know, make another video about it. But that's gonna be it for me today. Like I always say, you guys, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Salute.